Today we have something cool in the box from the UPS guy from eBay. What could it be?
What's in the box?
All right, my friends, looky what we have here. A pyramid stereo power amplifier, the PA800X, with the dual VU meters for the win. 800 watts total output power. Very cool amp. Let's take a look back though at Pyramid, caraudio.com. Says it's 2x125 RMS, 400 by 2 at 8 ohms, 800 by 2 at 4 ohms. Max power, of course. It is a DJ amplifier. And back in the day, Pyramid OEM these for Radio Shack. We take a look at the 1994 catalog. We will see the PA800, which looks exactly the same as this Pyramid amp. You can see $369.99 back in 1994. We'll show you a closer look here of the specs. That equates to about $760 in 2023, so that's pretty big money for a Pyramid amp. Thanks to archive.org, we did find the manual 100 by 2 at 8 ohms, 120 by 2 at 4 ohms, and the max power and all the other ratings, of course. But yeah, I thought it was very cool to come across this amplifier. You can see the power switch, quarter headphone jack, speakers A and B, and in the center we have the VU meters, large VU meters which are lighted, also large potentiometers to control the volume for each channel, also the button for the meter range which is minus 20 dB, which makes it move much faster for music. Looks cool. Here on the back of the amp you can tell it's designed for home audio or pro audio due to the multiple inputs here. We have 1/4 inch inputs for pro audio use, RCA inputs for home audio, and also a ground connector there. A large fan which stays on the whole time the amp does. We have binding posts for channels left and right, channels A and B, so you can hook up 2 sets of speakers and switch between them. A switched outlet, voltage switch, a fuse, and the AC power cord. So overall, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's rack mountable. Definitely the 19-inch width designed for pro audio rack mounting. Not sure how many pro audio guys will be seen with the Pyramid amp, but anyway, let's get this amp cleaned up so we can see what it looks like nice and shiny. Use some compressed air here to get the 30 plus years of cobwebs out of this amplifier. Also use some deoxit for the level controls on the front to make sure they worked okay. And then we put it on the scale here. Find out how much it really weighs. 27 pounds, 11.6 ounces, or about 12.58 kilograms. As for dimensions, 19 inch for the width, which mounts in a standard rack enclosure for DJ, 12 inch for the depth, and 4.5 inches for the height. Now we'll plug it into the wall socket and cross our fingers. Hopefully it works. We've plugged it in. Let's see if it turns on. VU meters light up. Now we got to see if it actually plays output to the speakers. You can tell here I did not have the minus 20 dB button pushed, so the VU meter is not moving very far. We will fix that for the amp dyno test. You will see it move. Speaking of the amp dyno test, let's test that power output. First up, fire up the good old SMD DeMoore Engineering 81 amplifier dyno. You'll see here on the test on the left, you'll see the power output. In the middle, the ohm load. On the right, you'll see the voltage, but we're not going to pay attention to that because we do have the dyno running off a battery bank, so it's not going to show the right voltage.
This here's my favorite part.
To add some layers of drama to the video, we will power it up once again. You can see the VU meters lighting up. Looks nice and fancy. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it really dark in the room, so you can't really see how it looks, but it does look really cool. Make sure we push in this button here to give us the minus 20 dB range. Push in speakers A. That's what we have hooked up. RCA is coming from our 80 PRS head unit by Pioneer, and then we have the speakers going again in to A. Speaker jacks. You can see here, looks like, yeah, these binding posts are not the best quality. Thank you, Pyramid. I don't always show this, but I do set amplifiers up using the DD1 Plus with a 10 dB overlap. You can see I got the channels matched here on the dyno. Now let's start off with the 8 ohm stereo test rated 100 watts by 2 RMS or 400 by 2 max power. See what we get here, certified. Look at that, Pyramid beating their rated power, 120 and 115. I was smiling the whole way because I didn't think this thing was actually going to do its rated power, because Pyramid does not usually give exact ratings. 120, 115 uncertified to clipping. So man, and look at this dynamic power. Yo, we got some beef built into this beast. 163, 157 at 8 ohms dynamically, 1 kilohertz. Now let's try 4 ohms. Pyramid rates it in the manual at 120 by 2 RMS or 800 by 2. You know, whichever one you want to choose, 120 by 2 or 800 by 2. 177 and 174 to 1% distortion. Wow, I'm blown away. And of course, uncertified, we get virtually the same, around 177 watts or so per channel average. What about dynamic? 4 ohms, 1 kilohertz. Yo! We busting over 520, almost 530 watts total, 267 and 260. Now, in order to do the sound test, we'll hook up the only DJ speakers I have, which are made by a car audio company. Rockford DJ speakers for the win, hooked up to the Pyramid DJ amplifier. You know, we got to run some Smoke Jacket Blues. Space Age Hustle. Let's put some bass. Here we go. Looks like I was getting into some clipping there on the VU meter with the Space Age Hustle. Let's take off that top panel to find out what's inside. Before we do that, we're going to show the thermals here so you can see what it looks like to Predator. You can see we got some 133, 135 degree Fahrenheit there on some things, but check out this resistor, over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, she's heating up, boy. And here's the amp guts. As you can see overall, doesn't look too bad. The transformer here is huge and heavy. Nicely made, it looks like. Wiring on the inside is typical 80s, 90s, early 2000s wiring. Nothing too fancy here. Got the 2 large heat sinks as well. Also 2 large 10,000 microfarad 63 volt capacitors. That is for the rails. And yeah, the amp overall looks pretty good for a Pyramid. I was kind of shocked. And the VU meter still works. That's awesome. Now we're going to throw in a couple extra tests just because I know you guys wanted to see them. Let's try some dynamic tests at 2.67 ohms. Check it out. 375 watts per channel dynamically at 2.67. But you know we're not done yet. Let's try 2 ohms dynamic. And here's our 800 watts. Yo! 850 plus watts at 2 ohms dynamic. All right, guys, well, there you have it. My review, test, amp dyno test, and show off the Pyramid PA800X. This is Big D. Till next time, make sure you're subscribed. I'm out of here.